This is a video to show you how to complete your Einstein Jr. data table. You will need to create a customized data table to collect the data on your prototype. This information has been given to you. When you go into Google Classroom, there is an Einstein Jr. challenge list listed. You have seen this list before, but probably didn't notice that there was a section called Data Needed. Please find your challenge name and find where it says Data Needed. This will tell you the data that you need to be collecting. This will influence how you create your data table. Once you know what you're looking for, you will begin creating the data table. So let's say I'm doing the challenge all wound up. I need to calculate the distance traveled of my race car. So I'm going to go back into Google Classroom and I'm going to select the Google Doc with my name on it called Einstein Jr. Test and Evaluate. This is where we can evaluate our prototype by collecting data. This Friday you will turn in a template of the data that you've collected. You will open up a Google Doc and you want to make edits to the data table. Please make sure once you're done you delete all of the directions. So I'm going to go ahead and make a copy of this just so I don't mess with your own data tables. So I'm going to call this Einstein Jr. example. So when you go onto Google Classroom, you'll open up your data table template and it will look like this. Now my Einstein Jr. challenge list told me I was just getting the distance needed. So I'm going to first add to the bottom of the test and evaluate the challenge title. So I'll write data table for all wound up, because I want to make sure I know what challenge I'm doing. Again, I want to make sure I delete the directions as well so that I have a data table. Now mine says to get distance, so just like using Sultan, I'm going to take out the lines and I'm going to add a label for distance. I want to make sure I include my units in parentheses. I will be measuring my distance in centimeters. So I'm going to come down here and also edit this and change it to distance and put it in parentheses. Now I'm only getting the distance needed, so I really don't need these other columns. So I'm going to remove them by highlighting the column, right-clicking, and then I'm going to go down with my cursor and scroll to where it says delete column. So I'm going to select delete column and it's going to remove it. So again, I highlight, right-click, and go down where it says delete column, and now it is moved. I'm going to do the same thing, and you can even do two at a time. Right click and delete column. I do have an option if I wanted to add a column, so let's say you want to do more than 4 or 5 columns. If I right click, I can insert a column to the right or the left, so I could click insert a column and it will add the column. So I have a couple options. I can add or delete. Now because I only have 2 columns here, I might space out some of this so I have more room for my picture of my prototype. So I simply drag the marker to give myself more space, and I'm going to do the same thing with this side. I'm going to match where the line goes. I'm going to give myself a little bit more space, and I might even enter down a little bit to make them a little more even. So now I have a data table with my title, labels, and units, and I have the option here to either sketch my prototype or copy and paste a picture in. This section will be due in a full week with the pictures and the data. But right now you want to have a blank data table that has the data you need to collect and the units with a title. This is all you need to turn in on Friday into Google Classroom. The following week we'll collect the data and actually enter in your numerical or quantitative data. Happy data table making!